My name is Anna Silk. For 6 seasons, I played Beau on the hit TV series Lost Girl.
And my name is Rachel Skarsten. For 3 seasons, I played Tamsin.
Welcome to the Lost Girl Rewatch Podcast,
a show where we will look at all the episodes, share some behind-the-scenes stories,
and chat with some very special guests.
On the show, our relationship was sometimes rocky.
But in life, our friendship is rock solid.
We are so glad you are here to join us for this trip down memory lane.
We love that the family is back together again. See the moon rise up. Welcome back to the Lost Girl Rewatch Podcast. This is podcast episode number 9. We are super excited, aren't we, Rachel? Because
we are very excited because we have a super special guest.
A very special guest who you can hear giggling. Can you guess who she is? She's about to come on screen. Miss Erica Luttrell.
Yeah.
Yes. It is really good to have you here, Erica.
Oh, it's so good to be here. I thought I was already on screen. I was all like pew-pewing.
I mean, we can we can bring you on screen early or late, but I love the giggle. So we're here to talk about basically episode 17 in season 2, The Girl Who Fae'd with Fire. It was written by Emily Andras and directed by Brett Sullivan. Now, Brett, do you guys remember Brett Sullivan? Well, Rachel, you weren't there. I think he was like John Fawcett's best friend or something, or he was an editor or something. I think it was his first time directing our show, but I remember him being really awesome and energetic. I don't know if you remember, because it was a long time ago. You do?
I remember that. In fact, no, honestly, I might be getting a flash of somebody else who directed maybe the last episode of the season.
How many episodes total were you in of Lost Girl?
2, just those 2. But there was one fellow who was kind of edgy.
Wait, you were only in two episodes for the whole series?
Yes.
Stop it.
Really?
It feels like you were in so much more. Because you had these really big sweeping episodes. Because my memory, I worked with you on the other episode then, because it was when you what I love about Val is that she kind of starts out as like not part of the gang and then joins the gang. So it's the joining of the gang that I remember working with you the most, because I think we had like a moment in this episode. But not like, but you were so...
Wait, a shitty moment or a good moment?
I mean, a good...
Did you know that it would be 2 episodes when you auditioned?
Oh, we've got balloons, Rachel.
Balloons.
Honestly,
balloons.
For anyone
Wait a minute. Do I remember which one was here?
Oh, okay. But just first, if anyone listening knows how to turn off the stupid fucking balloons.
I think that's
and the thumbs up. I don't think it'll do it on mine because it's not. I know it's ridiculous. Or fireworks.
It never does it on yours. It only does it on mine. Okay, but no, I was going to ask. 1, I want to hear your audition story if you have one, and 2, when you auditioned, did you know that you were going to be on 2 episodes? Did you just think it was going to be 1? How did that work?
I didn't know. And I will go back even further. So I had a friend of mine who had told me to watch the show. She was like, oh, it's like, you'll love it. Because I don't know how you guys feel about the Buffy comparison, whatever. But I was like a huge Buffy fan.
I love Buffy, so that's
great. I was like, I'm like a full nerd. I have like all kinds of like fantasy, sci-fi things I like. So I had watched a shit ton of Buffy when that was on, and my friend was like, oh, it's like gay. Well, like Buffy, and you're going to love it. And I was like, I can't do it again. Like literally I was so spent from like my deep involvement in the emotional world of that show. And I was like, I cannot go on that show. Don't make me do it. Also, but what was brilliant about that was that when I got the audition, I was so relieved, because I was like, if I had been watching it, I would have been too much of a fan probably to like pull my shit together to do a good job. So I was actually, and then I watched it once I got, and I was like, oh, this is wonderful. Thank God.
That would be weird to audition for something that you have like invested in. That would be weird.
Like I was in an episode of Buffy and I was such a creeper. I was so weird on this.
You were in an episode of Buffy?
I was. So it was that episode. I don't know if you watched it.
I stopped watching after Angel died.
I'm sorry. credits. So God damn it.
You understand. I was so invested. And then he died and I was like, it's done for me. I can't do it. And then now I'm kind of have this regret because everyone is like, you miss Spike. Anyway, not a Buffy podcast.
You miss Spike. Yeah, okay, so you probably didn't say fourth season. It was like I think.
Wait, how many seasons of Buffy were there? 6? 5? Something like that, right? And so what did you play?
Funnily enough, I played somebody who was a fan of somebody in the show. There was an alternate universe episode,
7 season
where Jonathan in the 4th season, who was like the nerd in the show, like he somehow made a wish or something, and then like became essentially like the Buffy of that universe, and like switched everything around. And so I was like, oh my god, it's Jonathan, and like just screw you, Buffy, whoever you are, and then I get attacked by a big creature.
Of course, big creature. Yeah. So you.
As it is. But I just remember being on that set and being like, just like wandering the stage.
I get it.
I feel like we had a tiny bit of that later on Lost Girl, like later seasons, because by then people had seen the show. So we would get maybe a guest star that you could tell also loved the show, which is great. But you could see like if people kind of were like, oh my God,
No, it's like, to me, it's like just a perfect example of how I've sort of carried forward in my career. Cause I was like, oh, thank God I didn't get myself involved in the show. Cause I was able to really enjoy my experience and get to know you guys without having like all kinds of, stuff behind. And so, yes, I auditioned via tape to fully answer your question from LA. I was in LA at the time, but Canadian citizen also. So, and I did like a whole friggin' thing. I like humped a chair. Like,
oh my God, I would love to see that tape.
Oh yeah.
Now, wait, you humped a chair because you have it? You know what? I have to tell you, I have my tape too from Lost Girl. Yeah, I have my Bo audition tape, which is crazy.
I like went all out. I think I wore like red contacts. I think because I just loved sci-fi fantasy. I just like went.
You could send us like just a snippet of that tape.
I'll send you.
That we could share.
You could share that.
Wow. Amazing.
Oh my God. Did you know Casey Collins before?
I'll send it. I didn't.
Okay.
No.
You guys are such good siblings. Like right away.
We are
on screen. You can see you see the history and the rivalry and the poking at each other and picking at each other was
the squinty eye of it all. Yeah. No, I didn't know before, but I feel like we had a good relationship on set for that period of time. It was just,
I loved how, go ahead.
I was going to say, he's the one who was like, no outside clothes.
What?
Like on a bed or something. Like there were just like very quirky things that we ended up talking about. He talked about water from the tap versus what cleaner. Then there was like something about no clothes that are dirty from outside on the bed. To this day, I carry that with me. I'm like, say my wife, I can't do it. I can't. Why are you on the bed in jeans?
You wore,
Why? I fully carried that forward from like. You said it. It's in my head now. I can't get it out.
Very specific lifestyle habits, and they are kind of contagious. He wants hand lotion and lip balm
because he's very earnest. About his,
it's not like it's like a genuine. It comes from a place of honesty for him. So you just kind of go, oh.
But that's the thing. They're not. Some people have eccentricities to be cool or whatever. That's not easy. Like that's literally just like from his core. That it's kind of his preference on things. Like he's like, no, this is who I am. So there's something about it that I always find. Charming,
find that so refreshing.
Out loud, I'm so effing susceptible to things like that though too. So. Like all superstitious things. My wife gets so pissed at me when I'm like, why are you putting a hat on the bed? Someone told me no hats on the bed. It's bad luck. Everything doesn't matter. It's like if someone comes to me with like an earnest thing, then I'm like, maybe that's
right. Must know something.
It's gonna get off my nose. I'm mildly OCD, guys. I swear to God, it's not.
I think everyone is to a degree. I certainly am. But I remember he's like I love when people are like, he knows who he is. And that's what I love. Like he knows who he is.
Yeah,
I remember I can't remember who it was. And maybe it was one of my husband's friends who was like, yeah, I don't like sauce. And I was like, you don't like sauce? Like just sauce on things. I don't like sauce. No sauce. And I thought, God, how, like, do I know myself well enough to know if I like sauce? Like, I want to know myself so well that I could be like, I don't like sauce. And it just,
I'm sorry, but
mayo. I don't like mayo. That I don't like. We have bonded on that, Rachel.
Wait, what do you not like?
Mayo. Anything that looks like mayo, like smells like mayo, with sat beside mayo.
Although, you know what I've been eating lately?
It's making me want to vomit in my throat. Yeah, mayo. I don't know. Something about the description coupled with your expression.
I know.
Like...
I won't tell you what I've been eating lately then, because it will just gross both of you out. But if you had to know, it's cottage cheese.
Okay. Wait, did you know? Okay. Did you know? Did you know that you were going to be in multiple episodes, or did you just think it was the one?
I thought it might just be the one, but then there was talk about more. You know how it is with shows. Like it was just kind of, oh, maybe. And like Jay was like, oh, we're going to do this whole thing. And then, but some of it, but not all of it happened.
Honestly, your presence on the show felt bigger than the screen time then, because I mean, you were, this episode introduces you so well, because we start in the beginning, reminding the audience that Hale comes from Clan Zamora, and that how he feels about his father. You can see how he feels about his father. And so I love this build up to meeting your family. And then I love how we come and meet you and you're sitting there just like playing the piano. Like, just like, cause that's what you do all the time.
As one does on a Saturday.
Yes, you're like, with your beautiful posture and just like playing the piano, cause that's what Val would be doing. And I love your power, but I also love the way your body language around your own power. Cause it was so like, just like casual, like you didn't make it like a power that you had to like work hard to achieve, which was really informed the character of just your confidence in what you do, which I loved.
Thank you.
No, it was so good.
Thanks.
Listen, this character, she like is so like, she's not subtle in her affection for Dyson.
I'm sorry, I was just rewatching the episode this morning, and my poor wife walks and she's like, "Is this the sex one?
Is this the sex one?" Okay, so that love scene was. What day of filming was that? Do you remember? Was it like your first day? No, please God, say that it wasn't your first day.
No, it wasn't the first day. And it's so funny, well, because it was my first sex scene, and I was so excited. I was like, "Oh, fun!" Really? Character, how exciting! Because I've been an actor, guys, since I was like 2 years old,
and I want to ask you about that.
I was like doing. Wait a minute, what were you saying, Rachel? You were going to ask me, but did you say how long have you? How long? You
acting?
Guys
have I been an actor?
Yeah.
Anna was she was a late bloomer.
I was super late. I didn't even move to the big city until I was 25. So I started when I was about 25, just even starting. Like I had done it as a kid, but in my hometown, but not professionally.
Like theater productions.
I had done theater and I had done some local commercials. I mean, very local. Yeah.
I mean,
and then I worked as crew on 3 movies before I moved up to Toronto.
Oh, wow.
And then I was pursuing acting because that's what I really wanted to do. But I was like a late bloomer, I would say. I don't know. Very late bloomer.
Mm-hmm. What, Rachel?
I was 12, but not as young as you.
You were 12, yeah. I mean, but it's not like I took myself.
No, exactly. How did you start at 2? So did your parents want you to do?
My parents, they're like, we have some cute kids kind of thing. Like, it's just like that kind of thing. And so I enjoyed it up to a point, but there was like a point in my life where I definitely had to like reassess. Like in my 20s, I was like, dude, can I choose this for myself? Like I somehow knew, obviously the industry is so fickle that you can't really leave it and come back. So I was like I kind of leaned back a bit. And then a lot of the voice stuff that I do a lot of now took off in that time. And that sort of reminded me, that sort of showed me what it is I love about it. The creating of worlds and these kind of really sort of things that can change people's perspective, showing people to themselves, all that kind of stuff. Because it's so pared down doing voice. It's just you, soundboard person, director. Like you're not And that reminded me. So then I leaned back into it. And so like, I was like, it was my early 30s, I guess, that I did Lost Girl and so on. And so I was like pretty, that was exciting.
So it was around that time that you leaned back into acting.
It was, it was just kind of around that time. But then I had to like cope with anxiety. Like I had all this kind of stuff from like being a child actor. So that's funny because I rewatched the episode and I'm like, oh my God, I was so nervous. Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, listen, it does not come across, but of course you were nervous because you're a human being with feelings and you had to come onto a show and be this like
when you're
character that just, I remember I guest starred on a show once. And when I got there, like I had auditioned for the part, they gave me the part. Like they gave me the part, me. So you think they want me. And then when I got there, they were like, do this like Angelina Jolie. I was like,
what?
Could you not offer it to her? Because like it was so much pressure.
Oh my God.
It was so much pressure. I'm like, why tell me that? Don't tell me that. You know?
Well, that's like
it is. It wasn't the director.
Like,
the director was very upset that they had told me that. But
okay. It was a producer.
Yeah. But like, it's a big. It takes a lot of. I don't know if I want to say courage or I don't know what it is to show up and play a character like Val and do it the way that you did. You didn't look nervous, but you looked like a whole person. So you didn't look like this one note.
Right.
I like to chase my brother's best friends and have sex with them in the basement. Like that's like one note of the character, but there was like reasons. And you felt fully fleshed out, even if that was your only episode. It felt complete.
Great.
And that's what was so compelling to watch. But yes, your love scene, oh my God. Like I wrote down some of your lines, like Dyson, come back anytime you feel like something sweet. I was like, oh my God, Erica. And then what was the other one? If you want to feel something for a change, come find me. I'm like, whoa.
Come find me.
Yeah, he's coming back. He's coming back. And he did. And his line to Hale of like, don't make this a thing, man. Like, what? That was so un-Dyson like.
That was hysterical. I laughed at that too. I'm like,
like, don't make it a thing. Like, anyway.
Because he's like, buckling his pants.
It was.
Don't make it a thing, man.
I know. It was, but it was.
It's not,
So do you have any, I was going to ask you where.
And he had the flu that day. Side note. He had a terrible cold.
Did? Oh, yeah. Yes. I remember that.
There's always something when you're kissing.
I know.
Always.
He was like, I'm sorry. And he was like taking like Tamiflu or something. And I was like, it's fine.
Did you get sick? Do you remember?
Sounds all right.
I didn't. I got a lot of beard burn, but I did not get sick.
Beard
burn was new to me.
I've had some beard burn from Mr. Holden Reed myself.
He was trying to coach me through it. He's like, you can't press that hard because it's gonna be, and I was like, oh, I don't know this thing.
Chris is a gentleman. That is true.
Anyway, you were asking me a question. I just yammered right through it.
No, I mean, I was going to ask you where you were in your career at this point, but you answered that question. So did coming back, what was your experience like filming the show, both episodes? Because what we've done, looking at season 2, Erica, is we've had a lot of people on like yourself that were a big part of the show that had, arcs. So whether they did 2 episodes or 10, they had some sort of arc on the show. So we've been kind of talking about their experience as a whole on the show. And so what memories do you have, good or bad? Hopefully not too many bad. And, but that's okay to share. And what do you remember most about it?
Oh God. I mean, I remember having it's so fucking cliche. I need to stop. But I remember having so much fun, guys. You guys were great. But it was, I remember shooting that abattoir, which actually was somewhat nauseating in the last episode of that season. Cause it's like when someone tells you what you're walking into and then you're like, yep, smell the meat and the blood.
I was on the floor at one point in that abattoir. So she passed out and they had a fan blowing on me and I thought, and like stuff was like sticking to my lip gloss. And I thought, this is awesome.
Stuff.
Was stuff from that floor. I feel like I'm superhuman now. My immune system It was stuff. I don't know what it was, but yes, I can feel that space.
Age-old slaughtered animal. That's nice.
I know.
It's good. So, I remember the smell of the abattoir.
So that goes under bad.
Yeah, let's file that under bad.
Yeah, that wasn't the best.
Beard burn, bad.
A beard burn.
Life lesson. Life lesson. So bad abattoir.
Life
beard
lesson.
Burn. Life lesson.
Late learned.
Yeah.
Life lesson. Early 30s. First beard burn.
There you go.
Life lesson. Yeah.
Life lesson. I think I mentioned to you once that I remember the Mr. Fuzzy, the
Mr. Fluffy.
big light thing.
Oh, yeah.
Fluffy.
I
was like, Foofy? Fuzzy. Mr. Fluffy.
Good memory.
It was I've never encountered before or since a lighting setup like that. Like they just wheel in this giant rectangle to create that. Because my wife was saying today, she's like, this show is so dark. It's just dark. It's like they shot entirely in the dark. I was like,
actually,
there was a very specific lighting
there
device.
was Mr. Fluffy. And I have to say, I think Mr. Fluffy made us all look pretty darn good. There was that wall.
Yes,
it just
the warm light was
towards
like,
the end, I was like, oh, Mr. Fluffy. Because, you're so tired. You're just a mess. Your makeup is like half staying on your face at this point, but you're like, Fluffy corrects all.
Yeah, just follow me everywhere, man. So I don't have to sit in front of these doors. In order to look evenly lit and not scary monster-like from the side.
It's David Green is a really good friend of mine. He was the DP, and he has told me how to make my own Fluffy at home for like tapes and stuff. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, I haven't done it, but he has told me how to make my own Fluffy.
I see. I will. Like it takes about 20 lights.
You need to take one side of your house. No, I'm just kidding. But he has told me I will tell you guys. I'll give you the at home Fluffy technique. Yeah,
the deeds.
If you're interested.
Okay,
yeah, yeah. Why not?
I'd love to know, honestly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I knew. Okay, so the love scene was supposed to be. And this has happened to me since too, where I'm like prepared for it to be like so much more involved. Like it was involved. I like how it turned out and I like what they did, but it was like all just kind of so hurried and passionate. But there was supposed to be like more nudity or something. So I was like, oh my God, it's like a nude scene. Like again, me who was like a child actor in like kids shows. I was like, oh my God, I get to be like schmexy. They're like, this is what he's going to be wearing. It's going to be this sock and you're going to be wearing it. I was like, okay. Sounds neat. But that's not what. So I remember that. I remember wardrobe like prepping me for like kind of how it was going to go on the day. But that's, things change, right?
I mean, it didn't need nudity, that scene. Like it didn't. No, it's already so fleshy.
But it's, I feel like I keep doing those now. Now I've like, since I was on a show and I did like a friggin' like washing machine and like a public, same kind of thing. Throw her up on the dryer, guys. I'm like, what is this? This is my thing now. And I don't think I've played a gay person. I find that also quite astonishing. Really? Yeah. Like,
interesting.
On camera. No, like I just continue to be cast as like if there's like a love scene involved, I'm like kind of that sort of thing.
No, I shouldn't say it's interesting because I feel like until recently, there actually weren't a lot of shows that had a lot of gay characters. So it's not that crazy that you didn't. Sure. But recently, I think that there have been more shows. Do you audition for those parts? Do you audition for queer characters?
I do. I have. Yeah. And I'm always like, cool, okay.
I mean, I am not queer, but I can tell you I much prefer to play them on television because, man, kissing a chick is so much nicer than kissing a guy.
Yes.
Interesting. Is it just the beard burn? What are we talking about?
Chris he really not ruined it for me, but he'd always just play in his face. And then you go to Anna.
Yeah.
So soft lips and
very little
so
beard
nice.
burn.
I mean, probably not everyone.
Very little.
Fluffy covered up. Yeah.
I have that one hair.
I think I made out with so many people on Lost Girl that I mean, I don't know that I would do that now. I don't know that anyone wants to see me make out with 50 people now, but I certainly did then. And
I know
you do.
Why not?
Yeah, wait a second. Why not?
Wait, have you ever counted how many people you made out with?
I have not, but I do remember one day in season 1, they scheduled 3 scenes with 3 different people in one day that I made out with. And I was like, guys, they're like, we know this wasn't a good idea. I'm like, it's really not a good idea. Like, these poor guest stars coming in, they might only have 2 lines with me. And I'm like, you're my 3rd for the day, like it was kind of, but I don't know how many people I made out with, but I made out with Zoe and Chris the most. I've kissed lovely Rachel here, which is beautiful and lovely as well.
Lovely Rachel. But Jesus Christ, yes. It's like the Renaissance.
I have.
Rachel.
Yes. But Zoe and Chris the most. And like, I know them so well and I knew them so well. So it was like, we had it down. We had it down. But rewatching the show, when I see a love scene that is with someone else, I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Like, I can't remember. And it's just like, wow. Fluffy was flattering. Let's say that. Fluffy was very flattering. And I'm very grateful to Fluffy. I love, okay, let me see here. Your stuff, every scene you had with Chris was good, by the way, not just the love scene, but the lead up to it. Those scenes were so good.
Yeah.
It was such a good episode for Chris too, because he goes in this episode, he's kind of falls out of favor with his best friend, which is a huge deal. In the next episode,
is this the first episode that happens? He's just sort of slipping.
By the next episode, he's really kind of hitting rock bottom and skipping town again. But, yeah. And I love Hale punching Dyson. And at the end,
he changed his mind.
Yeah. And I think it was a great episode for Casey Collins as well, And I love the man that played your father.
Yeah.
He seemed like he would be your father, you and Hale's father,
Yeah. Yeah. God, the resonance in his voice. It was so I forgot his voice. All of that.
Where did we film all of that?
Just like, ooh, badass. This guy very much feels like a supernatural something. Like, where did he come from?
I don't remember where we filmed that. You? Like that whole sequence? Were we at U of T for some of it?
Oh, God, I don't even know. Ballroom? Dude, you can't see. Here's the problem right now is that I have mom brain also. So it's like,
it is real.
It is real.
You could ask me what happened yesterday, and I'd be like, wasn't that today?
I have to think of how young my children were. I'm like, were they in diapers when that happened, or were they out of diapers when that happened? Because like the time just. So yes. So actually, speaking of being a mom.
Yes.
What has your experience been working and being a mom?
I mean, it's cute. I don't, it's cute. It's cute. I mean, I have my home, my voiceover booth. This massive white thing is
nice.
So I can. Oh, you want? Okay. Yeah.
I love this tour we're getting.
There we go.
It's like a sound booth.
Oh my God.
Like a whole booth situation, so I can record certain things, from home, as far as that's concerned. And so I've had my son, my eldest. He's
How old is your eldest now?
Center me.
2. Yeah,
2. Okay. Yeah, so he'll come. I've had him come in there and sort of look around, and I put the headphones on him and had him record something small. He's very cute and shy about it. It's so interesting though, because he's a very cute kid. I will not post him, but he's adorable. And I have my manager who's like, whenever you're ready. And I'm like, no, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Never going to happen.
It's interesting because I feel like actors specifically feel very strongly one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Like if you were a child actor, either you're totally, it's like a natural thing for you to put your child into acting, or like you and I, absolutely not.
I mean, I wasn't a child actor, but I'm an absolutely not kind of person. If one of my sons really wanted to do it, sure. But like I've been asked before too, like, hey, would you, your kids are so chatty and personable. Would they ever want? I'm like, no,
they're adorable.
I don't want, like, it's just not necessary.
No, no, I'm not just like putting, and the thing is, it's such these formative years, right? Like between like 1 and 5, right? I don't want to just be like, whatever. Be around a bunch of people who depend on you performing for their livelihoods and mortgages. Like, it's a weird pressure. I don't want that tension around.
And look, hey, you can start at 25 and end up having your own show. There you go. You could be a late bloomer in whatever shows you choose, and you don't. It does not have to be acting.
I just want them to choose. Like, I'd like them to choose it if it's something, and then I can like explain to them what's beautiful about it, and not necessarily just have them be swept up in like a world, because of beauty or something, and like have it not have any, like, it be entirely contingent on the surface. I want them to know that it is, if it is, that it is intrinsically satisfying to them, so that they can look past like the grossness that can sometimes exist in any business, but if you know why you're doing it, then you might not fall victim to like,
well, it's also one of the very few industries and businesses, and it is a business that allows child labor.
I know. I have said this. I'm like,
it's so work for a reason.
It's literally, it is 100%. There's no, people will glamorize it, whatever, but I'm like, it's totally.
I have to tell you, one of the first movies that I worked on as a crew. So in my hometown, a kid was one of the stars of the movie. I was so naive, you guys. Like, really, if you can believe it, and it's hard to believe, me having never left my hometown was so naive. Hard to believe, I know. But I was an AD, and one of my jobs was to take a big fat envelope of cash to his parents at night. And and the first time I did it, I said it on the walkie. I was like, I just gave the big envelope of cash to so-and-so's parents. And then everyone was like running at me, like, you can't say that on the mic. Like, no, you can't. And I was like, why? Like, I had no clue. I didn't realize they were paying. I was giving the parents money to work the kid longer than he was supposed to be working. Yeah. Because that's the kind of stuff I know. They were being paid under the table to keep him on set longer than they were supposed.
It was
creepy. And it's terrible. And I was like, I remember thinking like, this doesn't feel right now, but it didn't dawn on me what that really meant.
That's not everyone's experience. That's not everyone's experience. And I want to say that just in case anyone's listening, like, my mom didn't take wads of cash when I was 12. Like,
of course,
true for everyone. But that's the problem, is that when you are an adult, you can advocate for yourself. When you're a child, your parent advocates for you. If you're lucky, I was lucky to have a good parent who advocated well for me.
Right.
Great. Yes. But if you're not, then it can be really bad.
The other thing too, I will say, is that the business can also put pressure on parents in ways. I'm not saying that I'm not defending these parents. But I'm just saying there's pressure of like, we've almost got the shot. Can't we just stay another 15? And then you're the best. I mean, that pressure's everywhere. I just remember that was like my first experience of like, oh, this can be a little, I don't know. I feel like
it's just, how can you be like a beautiful, wonderful, and I get, I love my mom and dad in it, but like in that environment, to your point about pressure, under that set of circumstances, you're choosing between, my kid maybe is tired or doesn't want to do this thing, but the really wants them. Like, I was done eating the Twizzlers, guys.
Yeah.
But I had to keep eating them.
I feel like both of you ladies and myself and anyone, because for everyone listening, Erica and I have done many hours of class together. Acting class together, which I don't even think you know. So it's funny because I feel like that's probably another reason why I feel like you're in more than 2 episodes of Lost Girl, because I have witnessed you in your most vulnerable moments, or many vulnerable moments, as you've witnessed me in that room together. We spent a lot of time. And I feel like when acting is something that you still want to be doing, especially for you guys who started doing it when you were really young, there's something about people that are still in it that still have that dreamer essence to them. They still come at it from a place of, it hits them in their heart still. And so they, we go through phases where our hearts are crushed and we have nothing to give. But when we kind of raise our heads again, it's because we feel like we have something to say again. And acting becomes exciting again. And if it's not that for people, then they should not be doing it. Because the other side of it is so, mean and hurtful. But, I feel like people that stick around, that still pulses through them. And I see it in both of you, in terms of just watching you.
Well, that's good, because my only other job was like working at Subway.
That's good.
And I was a bartender for a long time and a waitress, but I was not the greatest bartender, I'll tell you that. But I love it still. I love it. I feel like I have a voice again, and I haven't felt that in many, many years, mostly because my focus has been mom. I've been a mom, which you're both moms, and it's just really been not, my heart was not in acting as much, but it is again now. And that's exciting to me.
Great. Wonderful. I completely get that. Like me having my kids, it's like, well, there's nothing more. Yeah. Is there anything more extraordinary or worthy of my spirit and time and energy? These little people, like, it's so fulfilling at such a deep level, even when it's hard, that I can't even, but I do think that art and the art of acting, like, it shows people, the stuff I get most excited about seeing is the stuff that's really sort of like current, present, like showing us to ourselves now. And that like really just hits me right then. The best actors can telegraph that so beautifully. And I love being a part of that at its best.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Well, Miss Luttrell, this was lovely. You are
so lovely.
Beautiful inside and out.
Thanks, you
too. The fans are going to be super excited to hear from you. And we really appreciate you taking this time with us. And
that's my pleasure.
I can't wait to see what you do next in every aspect of your life.
Same.
And
same. Every answer. Same with me.
Same.
I don't know.
Same. I know. Well, me, but also for you guys. Oh, come on. No, I'm very excited to see what you guys do next.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And we will see you guys on the next one.
Hello, guys. As you can see, I have changed locations because I got kicked out of my other one, but we are back. And we just had such a lovely time speaking with Erica, who we adore. And we wanted to make sure, though, that we covered the other episode in this episode. So, Anna, would you like to?
Episode 18, Fae-nted Love, written by Shelley Scarrow and directed by Michael DeCarlo. So this is the one where Ryan comes back. Bo needs to heal. She needs a booty call. She brings Ryan back. And it's fun to have Ryan back because he's so much fun. He was so much fun to perform with. So he kind of comes back in and we both get our memories wiped out and almost get married and blah, blah, blah. But what's great is, again, how much respect they have for each other when they both realize they've been sort of brainwashed and have to come apart again. I just love that dynamic that Bo and Ryan had. But what was really incredible in this episode, performance-wise, was the guy who played like the Hannibal Lecter dude. And I think his name is Oliver Becker. I looked in the credits very quickly, so I hope I'm getting that right. But Chris has all those scenes with him, and it's like he's like the Hannibal Lecter and gets into Chris's brain. And he also has that crazy power where his eyes do like a, like what's it called in a camera, like an old fashioned camera,
the lens, the shutter.
The shutter, exactly. So his eyes do that. It's so creepy, and this actor was so good. Like I had forgotten
every single star on the show.
I know, but like watching this, and it must have taken them. They honestly probably only shot for one day. They were in one location, but it would have been the whole day. And it would have been a big day for both of those actors. And they were phenomenal. Of course, Chris was phenomenal, but this guest star was really exceptional. There was also a lot of really funny one-liners in this episode, I have to say. I really like, I like Trick saying, I like Kenzie saying something about like, is this the part where I, leave town and I'm estranged from my family and I have to fight with a bunch of strippers or something? And he says something like, you're not living in the plot of Showgirls or something. I'm not making it funny, but it was very funny in the episode. And it was just funny that Trick is the one who said it. If you hear Trick say it, it's pretty funny. There
were so many good ones in the whole season, the whole show.
Yes.
Like, I feel like Lost Girl was the king of one-liners.
We got a lot of one-liners. I know.
Yeah.
But the bigger story here in terms of just the show and this season is that Bo thinks that because she was bleeding when Ryan came to give her the booty call because she was injured, that her blood getting on him is what affected his brain. And so that gives her a clue where the very last scene, which I loved between her and Trick, when she says like, one day soon, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to want real honest answers. And he says, okay, I'll give them to you. And she says, I'm not ready yet, basically, but I'm coming soon and I want the truth. And it's so like, she knows there's more to her. She knows she's more powerful. She knows Trick has answers. So that's kind of where that episode leaves off and takes us into the final few. What?
I know, but okay, question.
Yes.
Why? This is going to sound like I have not seen this series, but I have. But why does Trick withhold this from her? Like, why does he withhold things from her? It's not like you guys aren't in each other's lives. It's not like you don't know about like the world.
I think because Bo is so like such a key player in the Fae world, and because she has this, they know how powerful she is, and she doesn't quite know it yet. I feel like Trick is, I think it's just protection. He's always protecting her. So, I feel like if she had known these things early on, it would have been too much. She would not have been able to handle it coming from where she came from.
Did you know?
No, not really.
And as you were filming, like what, because when we'll get to this next season, but I didn't really know a lot about my character, but my character was supposed to have known those things about herself. Now, your character was not supposed to have known them herself, and you also didn't know.
No. I mean, I had little hints here and there of where things would go. And I knew ultimately I'd reach some kind of peak, just because the show is called Lost Girl and that's who I played. But so I knew that there was something bigger coming in the world, but I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. And I didn't know, that it would essentially come down to the fight against good and evil, which is very like simple in the simplest terms, but that's really what it comes down to in the end. And I just love that Bo leads the charge. But that's season 5.
Well, that season, you'll just have to keep
wait
listening
till season 5
for that conversation. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Lost Girl Rewatch podcast. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts. You can watch the first season for free on YouTube or see this season on Patreon if you are a member of the family. The link for everything is in the bio on our Instagram or on our website. We love you guys.
Love you guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Lost Girl Rewatch podcast, which is produced by Anna Silk, Rachel Skarsten, and Seth Cooperman, with theme music by our very own Blood King, Rick Howland. Please rate, review, and share the Lost Girl Rewatch podcast. This enables us to grow and continue bringing you exciting new content every week. If you don't already, follow us on Instagram and on our YouTube channel at Lost Girl Rewatch. You can also subscribe to Patreon, where you will get exclusive video access to all of our episodes.